Hey allies, thanks for tuning in. So in this video, I want to give you 3 tips for how you can break through weight loss plateaus if your goal is fat loss or just getting leaner and getting more fit, okay? I know this is something that a lot of people struggle with because it's not necessarily a matter of they're not willing to do what's required in order to see results. They just don't know what to do when they hit that wall, when they hit that plateau and they stop seeing results. And then that frustration causes them to quit. So let's teach you how to get through plateaus. So the main things I want you to focus on are number 1, volume, okay? What is volume? Volume is gonna equal weight that you lift times reps that you perform times sets of reps, and then you take into factor the time under tension, okay? So, again, the total volume that you do in a workout is equivalent to the amount of weight that you lift. So let's say it was a 25-pound dumbbell, right? Times the number of reps that you lift, let's say 12 reps, times the sets that you perform, let's say 3 sets, plus or taking into consideration the time you spend under tension. Okay, so let's say it takes you 30 to 40 seconds to do 12 repetitions. That's how long your muscle's spending under tension. So one of the biggest reasons why people don't see results is this concept right here. They choose to lift the same weight every single time they perform an exercise. They do the same number of reps, they do the same number of sets, and they don't change the time under tension. You don't need to do a million different exercises to see results. You need to focus on this concept right here. If you just do this one thing, which we refer to as the overload principle, which means you're increasing weight over time or stress on the muscle over time, you will constantly see a slow increase in your metabolism and the amount of calories you can burn, and thus you can leverage that for fat loss, okay? So, basically what you want to start with is each week you want to increase one of these factors. Not every single workout, but each week. Focus on one thing. Increase the weight by 2.5 pounds. Or do just one more rep than you did the week previous. Or do one more set of those reps. Even if it's fewer reps, adding one more set in is exponentially more volume of weight lifted. Or just slow down how fast you're doing the exercise. Okay? If you can do one of those things every week compared to the exercises or on the same exercises you did the week previous, you will inevitably be increasing volume over time in a small enough progressive amount that you will continue to see increases in metabolism and the calories you can burn. And if your goal is muscle development, you're eating for that, you'll increase muscle. Or if your goal is fat loss, you'll just be able to burn more fat, okay? So that is what we call the overload principle, okay? You can also refer to this as progressive resistance, okay? Now, the second rule I want you to follow is cycles, okay? Now, phases and cycles might sound similar, but I'll tell you why they're different. So a cycle is the time frame that you're going to be cycling through a phase, okay? So I want you to focus on 3-week to 4-week cycles, okay? Now, the reason why we want to focus on 3 to 4 weeks is because at 3 weeks, depending on how much stress you've changed or applied to your body, because all exercise is a stress, or dieting can be a stress on your body, but usually within 3 weeks, your body develops an adaptation to that stress, or at least begins the adaptation development process. Meaning, let's say your goal is weight loss, right? So you're here and you're starting to lose weight, and this is, day 7, right? And then you're continuing to lose weight, and then you're at day 14, and then you're continuing to lose weight, and then you're at day 21. And then what happens is it's gonna start to level off. Now, it might not always level off right here, but it's typically a normal starting point for where your body stops seeing results. It might take 4 weeks, depending on how disciplined you are. It might even go a little bit longer, but what we wanna do is we wanna anticipate that plateau period, which is gonna be typically right around the 21-day mark, okay? Now, some people might debate me on the exact days. It doesn't really matter, but what you need to focus on is cycling your phases in 3 to 4 week cycles, meaning you're changing large components of your workout program, like what we discussed up here, how many sets you're doing, how much weight you're lifting, what the repetitions are that you're doing, the time under tension. There's a lot of other factors like the type of exercise you're doing, the combination of exercises, if you're doing supersets, if you're doing circuits, if you're doing those types of things. And those characteristics are going to equate to what we call phases. I want you to focus on 3 different types of phases, okay? The first phase is going to be strength, okay? Now, strength training and weightlifting are not necessarily synonymous. So weightlifting is just a form or a modality of working out. It means you're using resistance as a form of exercise. That is all. Strength training is a specific kind of training where you're lifting high amounts of weight for low repetitions and a high volume of sets. So typically, you're gonna want this to be like 5 sets or more, and you're gonna want this to be no more than 8 reps, okay? Arguably, I would actually say going with no more than 5 reps, okay? But there are certain types of strength training protocols you can do that fall in this category. You'll notice that some people might have heard of the phrase 5x5s or 5x5. It means 5 sets of 5 reps, which is a common, really effective strength training protocol. And you guys may even know that we do some of this in our workouts. So the first phase I want you to focus on is strength. Why? Because when you increase strength, even if your goal is fat loss, it allows you to lift more resistance, right? So if you can lift more resistance in a later phase, you're going to increase your muscle's potential to burn calories. And if you can burn more calories because you have a higher metabolism, you can leverage more of that calorie burn for fat loss. So this is why, even if your goal is exclusively fat loss, you should and ought to do strength training. Okay? So we want a 3-week or 4-week phase of strength training. The second phase that we want is going to be hypertrophy. Okay? So hypertrophy is commonly done. You can do high volumes of sets, but sometimes it's actually okay if you just stick with like 3 to 4 sets, but you're doing higher repetitions. You're doing at least 8. You're doing somewhere between 8 to 12 repetitions per set. Because you increased your strength or the amount of weight that you can lift in this phase, you'll be able to lift more in this phase, and you can add in more of what we call volume, right? So if we spend more time under tension in hypertrophy by doing, let's say, supersets, where you do, 2 exercises back to back without a break, you're actually getting more volume lifted at a higher strength level in a hypertrophy phase, which again continues to increase your calorie burn potential because you're increasing metabolism. Now, if your goal is muscle development, this would be the phase where you would see more muscle gains, but you'd have to be eating for muscle gains to actually see it increase. So if your goal is fat loss, don't worry, you're not going to be putting on muscle or very much at all in these phases, but you're increasing metabolism. So now we can leverage that in phase 3, which is going to be endurance or metabolic conditioning, okay, which I'm just going to abbreviate with METCON. Some people know that term. Just stands for metabolic conditioning. So in this phase, we're going to do those 3 to 4 sets, but now we're going to do definitely above 12 reps, probably more like 15 to 30, just depending on how you write the workouts or how the workouts are written for you. So now what we're seeing is we're slowly progressing resistance over time. So we're adding volume, which means we're increasing metabolism throughout our whole program. We're cycling in 3 to 4 week cycles. So we anticipate that 21 to 30 day mark where your body's going to start developing adaptations and cause you to plateau. And we're changing the program before you plateau. And we're changing that by going through 3 specific phases of strength training, which is heavy, and hypertrophy, which is medium to heavy, and then endurance or metabolic conditioning, which is typically medium to light. And what that's going to do is it's going to keep your body confused to where it has to keep forming adaptations. And what those adaptations look like is increasing metabolism, increasing lean muscle mass or muscle performance, burning fat, that kind of thing. So this is how you're going to break weight loss plateaus. I want you to really look at that and adopt it. If you have questions, please leave them in the comments below. I'm happy to clarify anything on here. But the reason is, the reason why people don't see the ability to break past plateaus is because they don't know this stuff. These are the basic principles that you'll be able to beat plateaus I'm telling you, if you adopt this, if you focus on it, you will see results, and you'll continue to see results. The thing that people don't do that causes them to not see results when they're even trying this stuff is they don't track. So you need to track what you're doing in your workouts. So use a workout logbook, use a journal, use a piece of paper or a sticky note, but track the exercises you're doing. And you don't have to track every single rep, but track the heaviest weight you lifted on your best set in that workout. That will allow you to at least have some numerical data to be able to project forward and know if you're increasing in volume. And then you can just follow these cycling phases, which in our workouts we designed for you. So you don't even have to worry about this whole step 2 and step 3. As long as you're increasing resistance, you're good. So hope you guys found that helpful. Leave your comments below. If you still have questions on this, let me know. I'll answer them. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks.